evening, good morning, good afternoon, good night, good whenever you're listening to us. Welcome to another episode of Midnight's Edge After Dark. This is the long-form edition. I am, of course, your narrator supreme, Mr. Rob Robot Shlomo, coming to you from Shabby Road Studios, and with me, as always, is Mr. Tom Connors.
Hello there.
Yes, actually, for those who are unfamiliar, these are all the stories we present to you. The smaller forms, you can find those over on After Dark. This is the long form edition, isn't it? Right? Isn't that right, Tom?
Yes, it is.
Yes, we got all kinds of good stuff coming your way. So let's just jump right in, shall we? So, Tom, tell me about this new Leprechaun show that's in the works.
Oh, so it seems that the Sci-Fi Channel has got its hands on the Leprechaun franchise and are revitalizing it within the same continuity as the original film. Of course, they had the Leprechaun Origins a few years back from WWE Films, which was just an atrocious mess. I have mixed emotions about this because the last time Sci-Fi got a hold of something I liked, it was Puppet Master vs. Demonic Toys, and that didn't turn out well. There's a few pluses and minuses for this television film that's coming next March, exactly a year from now. As I said, it does take it back to the original continuity. We do get one returning cast member, not Warwick Davis, unfortunately. The one we do get is Mark Holton, who played Ozzy in the original film, so a little strange there. But the synopsis is the Leprechaun returns once again when a group of girls unwillingly awaken him when they tear down a cabin so they can build a new sorority house. Sounds promising. They released a quick trailer. It looks okay. The guy they got playing the Leprechaun part could be worse. I'll give it that, but I just don't know about this. Sci-Fi scares me. I'm not the biggest fan. Haven't been for a while, especially when they started their whole identity changing a bit, or however you want to put it. I like Leprechaun, the first film. Second film's okay. Third film's okay. From there, they just kind of go downhill. Leprechaun in the Hood was alright. I was just massively turned off by the remake, which I'm assuming many of you were too if you've actually seen the damn thing. It was a piss poor cash-in. We talk about cash-ins all the time here in Midnight's Edge, but this was a cash in simply on the name and name only, because it didn't even resemble the original Leprechaun outside of a very few minor details. So, like I said, mixed emotions on this one. I'm glad to see that we're getting Leprechaun back in the original continuity. I wish it was Warwick Davis instead. That would be cool. But the synopsis and Sci-Fi being involved, just not. I don't have a lot of hope for this. But I mean, one has to ask, is it better than nothing? I mean, at least now it's back in the original continuity, washing the reboot away, which, fuck, that thing is... There's no words for how bad that thing is. What do you guys think of this? Are you excited to see another Leprechaun movie in the original continuity? Are you upset that Warwick isn't involved? What do you think? Do you guys share my concerns, or are you just happy to have it back? Let us know in the comments. So, Rob, I know you're a huge Rick and Morty fan. There's some news going around due to a tweet from Dan Harmon that there hasn't been a season 4 of Rick and Morty ordered yet.
Morty, oh my god, Morty, we haven't been renewed, Morty. What are we gonna do, Morty? Oh, Morty.
I just bought a car.
Morty, oh, this is tragic, Morty. This is tragic. So anyway, yeah. So they haven't been renewed yet. Dan Harmon actually tweeted in response to a fan who was saying that... was calling him a lazy alcoholic for not having already finished season 4. He tweeted, "I hear ya, tough spot. On one hand, it can be challenging, especially with crippling lazy alcoholism, to write a show that hasn't been ordered by a network. On the other hand, the thought that fans like you pay the price, I mean, I'm gonna go grab a drink." So Dan Harmon, at least he's keeping his sense of humor about this.
Well, without getting into too many details, there's possible reasons why the show hasn't necessarily been renewed yet, but at the same time, you were telling me before we started recording, it was a good 2 years almost between the second and third season, so this isn't completely abnormal, but you would think sooner or later they're going to get trucking on this since it's a hit show. And the thing that bothers me most, and not to get into even the details about it, because to me it's not one of those things that's Harvey Weinstein bad, you know, so do you really think they're going to fire him? They haven't done it yet. Why would they keep stringing it along? That's the thing that bothers me. What do you think about all this, Rob? Because I know you're a little bit more deeper into this.
I'd like to think that Adult Swim and I think Turner Television, I
believe it's a Time Warner Turner network.
Yeah, I would like to think that they have more intelligence than to fire Dan Harmon like NBC did when they fired him for season 4 of Community. At the same time, anything can happen. They know what a big show this is. I mean, they know. They absolutely have to. There's no way they can't know that how big Rick and Morty is. So I'm thinking they're trying to do this. If they are going to renew it, they're probably going to renew it as quietly as possible. And they're going to start working on season 4. I wouldn't say, in secret, but like I said, they'll probably... do this on the QT.
Waiting for it to cool down a little bit, you mean?
Yeah.
Because, right, like I said, it's like he took responsibility for his actions.
Yeah.
We got to say that up front. Like I said, it's not on this Harvey Weinstein level to where the guy's being completely shunned from Hollywood at the moment. Sure, he did something wrong. He took responsibility for it. It doesn't make sense, though, for the network to keep stringing him along if they're not going to renew the show, though. And especially, it's not fair to the fans.
Yeah. But the other thing, we have to make the distinction between what someone like a Harvey Weinstein does and for someone like, for someone being an asshole. I mean,
yeah.
Listen, if someone's an asshole, someone's an asshole. They're not necessarily doing it because of your gender or your race or your preference. People have the right to be an asshole, right? I mean, that's...
and Matt Damon was right. You can argue with him all you want, but there are varying degrees and levels to this shit. And without getting too much into it, because we really don't like to get too in-depth in this stuff, because it doesn't usually have anything to do with the stuff we cover. But there's a big difference between what Harvey Weinstein did and say, like, and I don't even like him, but former President Bush, goosing women's butts. There's a big difference there. Sure, neither one of them are acceptable, but...
Wouldn't be prudent if I grabbed your ass. Not prudent, not at this time. So, like I said, there's a difference between, like I said, abusing somebody and just being an asshole and being a dick. Okay, people have the right to
flat out assault.
Yeah, people have the right to be a dick. They're not assaulting you if they're being a dick. Like I said, we have to try to make that distinction. And think of us, and to bring this up, you're familiar with Catherine Deneuve, right?
Yes.
Very esteemed French actress, very beautiful woman in her day. Even now, still beautiful. She said, actually, she said the exact same thing. We have to make the distinction between what is really an attack and sexual harassment and sometimes just flirting. I mean, this is her. She's saying, a woman is saying this. And she said, this is actually, this whole movement's gotten corrupted, and it's a lot of people, innocent people, are getting are in the crossfire of this. So, but I got, like I said, back to Dan Harmon. I gotta think season 4 is gonna be. They're gonna renew Rick and Morty for season 4. I don't see them not renewing it. And
this has got to be their biggest show, ain't it?
Yeah, it's bigger than the show. It certainly ain't Hot Streets. Dear God, that is terrible. Fuck. What are you thinking?
I don't know, but you were bitching about it. That's all I know.
And for anyone who hasn't seen it, actually, Justin Roiland, he does a couple of voices on it. This is absolutely dreadful. Hot Streets deserves to be canceled from the word go. I don't know how this even made it to air. Everybody's looking for the next hit, and so they took a chance on it, I guess. Let us know what you guys think about this.
Do you guys think it's going to happen? Do you think they're going to quietly cancel it here, or do you think, like Rob said, they're just kind of waiting to distance themselves a little bit from the controversy until they actually go forward with the 4th season? Let us know.
Here come the men in black. Yeah.
Galaxy
now Will Smith 3 cents.
Oh, but I doubt we'll hear that song this time around, and I wasn't even the least bit excited about this Men in Black spin-off, I guess they're calling it now, until now. Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth will reunite for Men in Black spin-off, according to Vanity Fair. In a stroke of genius, Sony has remembered that Chris Hemsworth is one of the best parts of the maligned 2016 reboot Ghostbusters, and now the studio plans to plunk him in another comedy property, one that should prove the Australian actor is afraid of neither ghosts nor aliens. Now, this is what I said before, they should have crossed over Men in Black and Ghostbusters to begin with, but anyway.
It's the same exact movie, yeah.
Yeah, turns out he's going to be showing up this time with his co-star from Thor Ragnarok, Tessa Thompson, and this actually got me a little bit excited for this because I loved their chemistry in the movie. I thought she was great in the part. You didn't so much, though. That was one of your complaints about the film. Now, we didn't really get to do a roundtable review of this film yet, but...
No, and I didn't get to do a review.
You were kind of telling me before we were recording, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like her. I didn't like her as Valkyrie. I didn't like the character of Valkyrie. It just seemed like it was just that one note. I'm drunk, I'm drunk, I'm drunk, I'm drunk, I'm drunk, I'm drunk. It was like watching a half Amy Schumer.
There was that in the beginning, but I kind of disagree. I think that she came along. I loved her stuff with Hulk. I thought her and Chris had some great chemistry because you could tell they were kind of setting up a little romance there. I loved her little arc there where at the end she came back with the Valkyrie outfit and started kicking ass. I thought it was cool, but you evidently didn't. And
no.
To each his own. But she's obviously the new it girl in a way because I've been hearing a lot about her, and she's quite the looker, just the same, whether you like her or not. And Thor Ragnarok, you can't argue with me there. So we found some common ground there.
Oh yeah, don't get me, very attractive young lady. Oh yeah. So, but like I said, I just wish the character was written a little better. So,
you know, that aside, we'll see. She has a chance to maybe redeem herself in your eyes with the new Men in Black film. Fate of the Furious director F. Gary Gray is at the helm. As I said before, they are now calling it a spin-off, so assuming it will be in the same universe of the original films, but also within the same article they call it a reboot, so I guess pick your poison there, huh?
Yeah, maybe Frank will make an appearance. So Frank, the Frank the Pug alien, I guess.
Did you know that's the same guy who did Johnny Five?
Oh yeah. No, actually, no, I didn't.
Tim Blaney.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
If I did, I know I must have forgotten.
Yeah, but he died in the third one, I think.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's true, yeah.
Him, and they have that tribute thing to him. Because, yeah, anyway. Moving on, though. I know Chris can be funny. Ghostbusters aside.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing Chris Hemsworth in a legit comedy, though. I mean, that's the thing. I think he has the range to do comedy very well. I really do. Yeah. I'm not sure if he has been in a comedy just yet. Has he been in a comedy? I don't know.
Well, Ghostbusters.
Oh, Ghostbusters. That you call that a comedy?
It was funny to some people, I guess.
Oh yeah, it was more of a tragic comedy. So
you can tell he definitely has a sense of humor, and he plays it so well in the Thor character. So I can see it here. He did make me chuckle a couple times in Ghostbusters, but some of his jokes are just so stupid, and that's probably not even his fault.
Yeah.
So I'm not even gonna say it's his fault per se. So we're not even gonna get on that subject because Ghostbusters is Ghostbusters, and this is something completely different, even though it's busting aliens. I'm kind of excited for this now. I'll kind of hold out till I see a trailer to see where they're going with it. But I think these two can handle it.
Yeah, and like I said, I really do wish we'd see more comedic movies with, and Men in Black. It just seems like it's an idea that you could do so much with too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because really, quite literally, the sky's the limit. Really, you can go anywhere with that.
Beyond the sky.
Exactly.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, what do you guys think about? Excited for this or what? Dun 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 dun. You can't get out from my lawn. Yeah. So, in case you haven't guessed, actually, Harrison Ford's coming back for another Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, they're digging him out of mothballs.
Steven Spielberg, another Indiana Jones movie this time. We're going to be doing it. What was that? What was that, Harrison? You got to speak up a little.
I'll do it, but I'll do it for a bag of weed.
Yeah. So he has to get away from Callista Flockhart for a little while. So
and I get to fly.
Yeah.
I like to fly. I'm a pilot.
According to Variety, there was an event at the Roundhouse in London, and Steven Spielberg was there.
Well, for Ready Player One, I imagine.
Yeah, for Ready Player One. Yeah. Well, anyway, Spielberg was saying to the crowd there, "It's always worth a trip when I get to work with this deep a bench of talent coming out of the UK. The actors and the crew, the chippies, the sparks, the drivers, everybody who has helped me make my movies and will continue helping me make my movies here when I come back in April 2019 to make the 5th Indiana Jones movie right here."
Well, before we get back to Indiana Jones, I got to say this about Ready Player One, and I think I said this to you in private. To me, it's like one of those tribute albums, but the band insists on playing with you on every song that originated the song, so it just doesn't feel right. This feels like a movie that somebody who was inspired by Spielberg should be making, not necessarily Spielberg. But anyway, moving on to the Indiana Jones part.
Yeah.
I know you didn't seem too excited about it when I brought this up to you, because you hadn't even heard this yet before we decided to roll here.
I knew one was on tap, but I didn't know they were actually serious about making one. Which seems... Oh, boy, really? Okay, let me tell you. I love Indiana Jones. Don't get me wrong. I freaking love Indiana Jones. I was Indiana Jones for Halloween one year, okay? And I
just watched Raiders the other day.
I still have the fedora, and I bought a 10-foot whip, okay? I still have the whip.
Sure, you bought it for your costume.
I only use it for friendly purposes, but that's another podcast. But I freaking love Indiana Jones, but I don't want to see Harrison Ford out there as a 75-year-old, 80-year-old Indy. At some point, it doesn't work anymore. And for those who are going to say, well, he was in The Force Awakens, you didn't have a problem with that. Yeah, because they wrote Han Solo as an old man. He wasn't out there, he had some limitations as an old man in that role,
To be fair, he did kind of in Part 4, and I didn't hate him in Part 4. I hated the story, and I hated Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Because I was pissed that they used that 20-year-old script that Spielberg kept saying no to, and finally Lucas talked him into it, because he's like, okay, Steve, we'll just change it from aliens to interdimensional beings. Does that work so we can get this fucking movie made? Please? Please?
It's like, read the reviews. George Lucas says, I don't know what it is, but throw more CGI on it.
We need prairie dogs and CGI. We need monkeys, and we can squeeze Jar Jar Binks in here. That's the key to getting this whole thing to work.
I like the idea of them going to South America, the Mayan temples, but looking back on it, it was pretty lame.
Yeah, if it would have just been Indiana Jones finds, the Lost City of Gold or El Dorado or what have you, that'd have been fine. Once they brought fucking aliens into it, it goes against the whole religious artifact factor of Raiders and, Last Crusade. There's
even a way to do aliens or whatever and do it well within the context of Indiana Jones, but at the same, there probably is a way, but he just didn't find it.
Okay, well, if not, okay, you make it a cute joke at the beginning like they did with the whole Roswell thing, but you don't make it the centerpiece.
Yeah, so,
exactly. I get it, the crystal skulls are cool, whatever, I get it, there's a lot of mythology behind them and all that kind of crap, but...
Or you say something about, they thought, this age of civilization thought these were, aliens had brought these from the heavens or whatever, but it turned out they weren't, or whatever. So, like I said,
right.
There's a way to do it, but they didn't do it well.
Regardless, it just, to me, it didn't feel like an Indiana Jones movie once we got to that point. I can accept the whole religious factor because that's kind of the joke, especially in the first film when, you can tell Indy's a hardcore atheist. And when he gets to the Ark and he realizes the power it has, and then you get to the third film when it's, the Grail, it's like, even in the second film, they're still religious artifacts, even though they're not Christian artifacts, but still.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the idea. They're earthly treasures, that have this power. Like, there's things about our own world that we still don't really fully understand. Right.
To blow up in his face because he talks about, the whole he doesn't believe in superstitions and all that kind of hokey stuff.
Yes. Can you please recast the role, please? Nothing against Harrison Ford, but please. And like I said, a lot of people say Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt would be great as Indiana Jones. I was
going to say, I was against it until somebody brought that up, and I'm like, if you're going to James Bond it, you could have had a worse suggestion than that. He at least embodies the ideals of, what Indiana Jones is on the surface level to where I think he could put himself into the role, and you could do, like I said, the whole James Bond thing to where you can continue to keep it in the same era without removing it. But either way, it's
like I said, Chris Pratt, a lot of people say Bradley Cooper.
He wouldn't be horrible either, but yeah, where we do go. And for those who want to yell at us, the whole inspiration for Indiana Jones behind it was the serial adventures and Bond, literally. So that's not really above the idea of recasting the role as somebody else in that respect.
Spielberg and Lucas wanted to do a Bond movie. That's the thing, but they couldn't get the rights. And then Lucas, I don't know, one of them said to the other, I can't remember which one, hey, Lucas said to Spielberg, hey, I've got something better. Check this out.
I got this idea. It was based on shit I used to see when I was a kid. Tom Selleck's going to be in it. It's going to be great.
Yeah, exactly. So,
he almost was.
He almost was, yeah. He almost was. What might have been. So
yeah, let us know what you guys think.
So let us know what you think. You guys excited for another Indiana Jones movie? I know I'm not. So, Tom, what do you have for recommendations? We like recommending stuff, turning people on to new stuff. What do you got for recommendations for us?
I know this is the cheap and easy route, but goddamn have I not been falling in love with Thor Ragnarok in the last week. I love that movie, man, and it gets better on every viewing. I mean, just Thor, just the Hulk and Thor scenes alone are worth the movie. I'm sorry. I know I'm fanboying a little bit, but what do you got for us this week, Rob?
Actually, I got one that's a little harder to come by. It's on DVD. You can usually find it as part of a box set. It's Monty Python's And Now for Something Completely Different. It's really all their best radio and album sketches and all the best sketches from the television show, but they're presented, and there's a few new bits in there, and it's all presented in film form, 90 minutes. It's a lot of familiar material, but still, it's hysterical. It really is.
Indeed. Yeah, I like that one too. It's a nice entry into anybody who's not too familiar with Monty Python. It's a great way to kind of get them into the whole thing. Check that out if you haven't seen that. I can recommend that as well.
So, Tom, if people like the channel, what can they do?
They can always hit that subscribe button, and if you do, make sure you hit that little bell icon to make sure you know when new content is uploaded on Midnight's Edge, and also check us out on Midnight's Edge After Dark, where you can get these stories individually and all kinds of other good stuff.
And if you really, really like the channel, you can consider supporting us through Patreon. Patreon supporters get all kinds of bonuses. Isn't that right?
Yes, indeed. There's, of course, outtakes and bloopers, longer versions of the episodes that we do as far as mini documentaries and editorials. You get a chance to see a lot of that stuff early. We also have all kinds of stuff that's not available on the YouTube channel, like Beyond the Edge, which is the making of, and some lost episodes as well.
That's right. You can support the channel through Patreon for as little as $1 a month. And as we got a lot of good stuff coming to you through Patreon, you have to stay tuned for that. We'll have more details on that as they develop. And if you don't have the means to support us through Patreon, then please click the subscribe button and click the bell icon and share with all your friends. Because as I always say, we cannot do this without you. We also like to throw a shout out to our good friends, Dictor Van Doomcock. You can find his channel, Overlord DVD, on YouTube. You can also find him on Twitter. And we also like to throw a shout out to our good friend Ren from Ren Rants. You can check her channel out at Ren Rants on YouTube, and she has a lot of good stuff there. And we will be working hard on the truck log for you people. Another upcoming truck log.
Yes, it's coming. It's coming. Sorry.
Yes. So we're sorry for the delay, but it is in the works. We got a lot of neat stuff coming for you. So one more time, I'm Mr. Rob Robot Shlomo.
I am busy as hell. I'm Tom
And
Cotter.
we will catch you next time.